I'm going to introduce you a talk that's about emerging channels. It's about something called the new rules of distribution and how to engage with new audiences. This comes from someone that's currently living in your city, someone that's a superstar on the internet. He started his career supposedly as a filmmaker. He won an award in 2012, and then he said, you know what, fuck filmmaking. I'm going to start using new channels to do things. He has 1.3 million subscribers on his YouTube channel. His videos have been watched by over 260 million people. Let me repeat that, 260 million people. And before you give him an applause, I want to invite him because there's a bunch of things that I want you to clarify. Casey, please come on stage. It's a pleasure having you here. So I heard that your last name is really hard to pronounce. So someone told me that you explained at some point how you said it. So let me see if it's correct. So it's like Neistat, the nice guy.
It's like this. Like, see these tats here? These are really nice tats.
Nice tats.
Nice tat.
No nice tits.
Not yet.
Okay, good to know. I was just wondering if you can turn my phone pink.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a little spray paint.
Casey, the floor is yours. Guys, enjoy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Typically when I do these talks, I focus really heavily on my career as a filmmaker. But given this forum, I saw it as a great opportunity to focus more on my career as an entrepreneur and my career as a technologist. But I thought a good introduction to that would be showing a movie that I think gives really good context to what I'm trying to do and what my ambitions are in and with technology. So I'm going to show you guys a movie. It's also a really good movie, so no matter how much I suck as a speaker, you'll just remember this movie and you'll be like, that guy was great. So let's play that movie. Definitely make this flight, but we're cutting it close. So far the trip is off to a fairly irresponsible start. And so it begins. We got to Paris, 17 degrees outside. The airport, okay.
Yeah, welcome to Cairo.
All in all, very successful. We visited Tahrir Square. We rode horses. Max almost fell off of his.
Now commence our descent.
We're in Johannesburg, South Africa right now. Just got to Zambia. Stuck in Nairobi. We're at the Vatican right now. We're leaving Rome and renting a car. The trouble is all of the street signs are written in squiggly lines. Back in Doha. Our flight board's 2 minutes ago. We're in Bangkok. We have a terrible taxi driver. Thank you. Hey, Swanee. What's up? We forgot to eat today and I've got the shakes real bad. This is the gnarliest airplane food I've ever seen. Look at this wiener.
me to take your picture?
I like this.
Never mind.
So that video for me was like, you know, like a call to go for it in life and to like reach for it and just like chase after it, get after it. It was something I really believe in. So rewind all the way back to the beginning of my career. I had a very like kind of shitty upbringing, and I was very, very poor when I was a teenager, and no one listened to me. So I started making movies. And it was via my movies that people started paying attention to me. And it was via making movies that really changed my relationship with the whole world around me. And to examine that a little bit more, it was this idea of sharing my ideas like that, sharing my ideas, that video, not me up there, my ideas and my perspective via movies that enabled me to feel like I had a voice. So with that, there was this sort of problem that I identified early in my career, which is that I have something that's unique to me, which is my filmmaking ability. I have the opportunity to make movies like that, to share ideas. And the problem is, why should the idea of expression via video be limited to people who are skilled, trained filmmakers, practiced filmmakers like myself? What about people who don't have a creative expression? Is there a means for them to share their perspectives and their ideas without the burden of creation? And that was something that really existed in my head for a long time. And in late 2013, I was invited to MIT, to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And it was a joint program between the Sundance Institute, the Rockefeller Foundation, and MIT. And they invited me there to do a semester working out of the Media Lab. And I learned something there that seems kind of naive, and will sound naive to all of the technologists in this room. But what I learned while I was at MIT is that with technology, anything is possible. With technology, you can tackle any problem. That's what this entire conference is about. And with that, I started rethinking about that problem that I identified. Is there a way to separate sharing from creation? Is there a way to enable people to share without forcing them to first create something? And that problem was the motivation for me starting Beme, for starting my technology company. It started with the sole ambition of tackling that problem, of seeing, is there a way to enable people to just share without having this burden of creation? And, you know, in addition to YouTube, in addition to my short films, I'm really a huge fan of social media. I love Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat and Facebook. I love sharing across all platforms. But even if you examine the most simple means of sharing, something like Instagram, there is still a significant burden to sharing, a significant burden to creation on a platform like that. I know that, like, when I take a picture, whether it's a selfie or a sunset or whatever the hell I'm sharing on Instagram, I look at it and I ask myself, is this good enough to share? Like, is this share worthy? Will this get enough likes? Will this make me look cool? Like, how will this reflect on me as a person? I'm the same way with Facebook. I'm the same way with Snapchat. If you go through all of my profile pictures on Facebook, you'll see a guy that is much cooler looking and much better looking than I am in real life. And I think that's true. That's true for how we use social media. We've largely used social media with sharing how we want the world to see us. And what we created, what we try to create, what we are creating, what we're sharing every day, is not another tool for sharing how the world sees us, but a tool for sharing how I see the world. And what that means is remove the opportunity for reviewal. Remove the opportunity for scrutiny. Don't have commenting, don't have a little heart that you get that adds up to quantify whether it's something that's good or something that's bad. Just make it purely about sharing. I like to think of Beme, my video sharing platform, it's closer to a telephone call than it is writing a book. So it's less about the qualitative aspects of how you're sharing it, and it's purely about the content of what you're sharing. So I made this little video, and this video that we're going to play right now, it's 3 minutes long, and it explains what Beme, what my technology company is, and how it works. This was actually a video that I made for Apple Computer. They're just called Apple now. A movie I made for Apple because we were having some trouble getting our app approved by Apple, so I made this video, and then they just approved it, so I just put this video on YouTube. But this video articulates what the app does, how the platform works. So I'm going to show it to you and then talk about it for a second. Play video 2, please. What do you guys think? If we don't have it, it's fine. Do we have it? No? Nothing. Okay, I'm just going to explain it to you. No video. Okay, how every video sharing platform works, everyone that lives on your phone, everyone in existence, is it starts like this. You start like this, and you're looking at this, you're looking at this. And what this is you're seeing a preview of what you're capturing. So immediately you stop paying attention to the world around you, and you start paying attention to how you're capturing it. And then the moment after you've captured it, the moment after you've recorded something, you're faced with what you just recorded. You're forced to sort of scrutinize that. You're forced to ask yourself, is this good enough to share? Will people think this is cool? Will people think this is cool? And then it's like, no, this isn't cool enough to share. I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to make a duck face like this, because then I look better. And it's that I wanted to get away from. So how do you possibly use technology? How do you use the technology that's in all of our pockets to share video, to share the most dynamic, the most rich of all mediums, to share what you're experiencing, to share what you're seeing? And this is how Beme works. So this is the app right here. It's open now on my phone. And when I see something I want to share, like all of your pretty faces out there, I just hold it against my chest like this. And that noise means it's capturing whatever's in front of me. It's capturing all of you right now. And then when I hear the second noise, that means it's been shared. And I can put it back in my pocket. And now everyone that follows me, which is like kind of a lot, I feel like, do you guys remember Tom from MySpace? Like the guy that you had to follow when you started? I'm like that guy. But that video has now been shared to everyone that follows me. And what your relationship ends up manifesting as with Beme, unlike other social products out there, is that cognitive load, that amount of thinking that goes into, do I want to share this or do I not want to share this, gets dramatically reduced because there's a whole lot less consideration. Instead, that cognitive load, that decision point becomes singular, which is like, do I or do I not want to share this? And if the answer is yes, I just share it. I capture it, and then it's shared. And I don't have to review it. I don't have to ask if it's good enough. And where it gets really interesting is what you end up with in aggregate. So when you have millions and millions of pieces of video, of clips of video being shared across this platform around the world, what do you end up with? Well, it's a lot less of like a bunch of people making duck faces and silly faces into it and going like this. And it's a lot more of seeing what people are seeing. This action here is, what I'm doing is I'm covering the proximity sensor. So I can do it with my thumb if I want. I can do it with my chin. I can lean it up against something like this, and it'll capture whatever's in front of it. But what it always does is it keeps your eyes on what's happening in front of you. So you just trust that it's capturing what you're truly experiencing. Now, in our office at Beme headquarters in New York City, we have this huge television, and it's a live feed of everything that's being shared on the platform in real time, along with the location. And you're looking at it, and you're seeing like what looks like very similar stuff people from all over the world sharing their perspectives in this, like, this realization happens, which is like, and this sounds a little silly, a little naive to say, but it's like, we all sort of live the same. We all sort of do the same things. We all function on a similar plane. And then seeing that in Moscow at the same time as seeing that in somewhere in the United States, and then seeing that somewhere in Europe, seeing that all over, it really changes your perception on the world. And our manifesto, our mission statement at Beme, is to promote empathy by sharing perspective. That is, if we can see how other people see this world, how other people interact with this world, if we can see other people's perspectives on this world, it might affect the way that we think. It might affect the way that we are. And that's the ambition of Beme. So, currently with Beme, how it works is whoever is working the lights should get a raise, and whoever's working the video should get fired. When you're currently on Beme, and this is how we launched, we knew that this thing, we knew that capturing without reviewing, without previewing, was something that was pivotal, was something that was really changed the way people create. But we weren't sure about how people would watch it. And the consumption, or the way that you watch on Beme right now, is fairly typical. But we're getting very close to launching something I'm going to talk to you guys about for the first time, even though my partner was like, maybe don't talk about it in Spain, but I think you guys are a good audience for it. And what it literally is it's the world. You're looking at sort of a map, and you're seeing people's perspectives. And these don't have to be people that you're following. This is just the whole world. This is everyone who's on Beme that's sharing. It's just like that TV in our office. And you're watching, you're seeing these little clips of people's perspectives, and you're seeing some dope on a stage in Spain talking to a big audience, and then you switch, and you see some kids in the back of a school bus in the Midwest, then you switch, and you see somebody in Paris. And as you're switching, you're seeing the world come back up, and you're seeing this dot, this perspective that you're consuming. You're seeing it change, its geography change. And the impact that that has on you, the relationship that you then have with this content, becomes something that I find incredibly elusive in the social space. And what that is, the only way I could describe that is it feels authentic, or it feels real. It feels like you are experiencing something that is true to the creator. Snapchat, which is one of my favorite social media platforms, and I absolutely love it. But Snapchat is exactly about the act of creation. It's about creating something, making something, a little creation that you're sharing. It's about puking rainbows. It's about funny faces. It's about drawing on the screen. That puking rainbows thing, by the way, was fucking amazing. I loved it. But what it wasn't about is about true perspective. And I think that there's really something special in true perspective. I think it's something elusive. I think it's something raw. I think it's something new. And I think it's something that's going to take some getting used to. I think it's something that we have never been exposed to in a way that's actually consumable. You look at live sharing platforms, which I think can be really instrumental in the dissemination of information, really instrumental when you think about a crisis taking place around the world, and you tune into a periscope to see exactly what's happening there. That's major. But what live streaming doesn't address is this struggle for interestingness, meaning that live, by definition, is fucking boring. If you want to make live interesting, it requires you to be seeing something really interesting, whether that's a boxing match or something that's more of a crisis situation, something that's newsworthy is then interesting. But what about these little moments that we experience all the time in life? Is there a way to package those and address that burden of interestingness? And these are all of the ambitions, these are all of the goals, these are all of the problems that we're setting out to tackle with Beme. And all of that comes back to where I started this talk, which is how sharing perspectives and how sharing ideas has affected my life and affected who I am. And the profundity that is that impact of being one person, but having a voice and having that voice be heard by many, many people. Okay, that's it. My time is up. Now, before I end, I just wanted to say one thing, because I've gotten more shit in the hallway here than I've gotten in a long time about the fact that Beme's not on Android yet. We're almost there. In fact, I ran into somebody here named Nacho. Nacho, are you in this room right now? Who's on our Android beta. So, it's out there. It's happening. But we're very, very excited about pushing on to Android. It's something we're deliberately holding back. Not to be dicks, but just because Beme is evolving every day and we want the very best version to launch on Android. So if anything, know that we're using iOS users as our guinea pigs, and you precious Android users will reap the benefits of that. But guys, thank you so much. I'll see you on Beme. This was great.